Live from CBS 4, your news at 5 starts right now.
On the ground, federal investigators try to piece together what happened during a tragic crash that killed 3 kids at a bus stop. The changes already being made because of that crash.
Drivers rejoice. The speed limit on I-69 from Martinsville to Bloomington is about to go up officially to 70 miles an hour. I'm Zach Myers. I'll tell you what you need to know going into the next week.
Abandonment issues, how a church fire on the near northwest side underscores a larger problem going into this winter. But we start tonight with the chances for rain on this Halloween night. Thanks for joining us. I'm Bob Donaldson.
I'm Debbie Knox. Several communities are going through with their trick-or-treating tonight despite the threat of rain. CBS 4 Chief Meteorologist Chris Wright is live at the Indiana Governor's residence and tonight where the kids are going to be stopping by very soon. Hey, Chris.
Yeah, Bob and Debbie, just some light rainfall, a couple of sprinkles going on here on the north side of town right now. The heavy rainfall we had earlier today has now moved on south, but it is going to come back. But I think we'll have enough of a window for trick-or-treaters to get out and enjoy it tonight. As you guys mentioned, we're live here in front of the governor's mansion where you're going to have a steady stream of kids coming up over the next couple of hours collecting candy all in their costumes. It's going to be a great night for that. Take a look at Live Guardian radar right now. We've got a steady stream of heavy rainfall down along the Ohio River. You'll notice it's pushing off to the southeast right now, but eventually that moisture is going to start coming back our way, giving us a chance for some heavier rain. Just a couple of scattered sprinkles here across central Indiana, too light to be detected by radar, but that'll change for us overnight. We picked up a 1/4 inch of rainfall here in the city today, 1/2 inch of rain down in Shelbyville, and over 1 inch of rain in Bloomington, so some parts of the state did get a pretty good soaking. We saw high temperatures in the 60s, but that was earlier in the day. We saw the high at 67. We've been cooling down over the past couple of hours as the cold front's now moved on through. We're at 53 here in the city, 54 in Lafayette, and also in Muncie. Visibility is going to be an issue tonight, so watch out for the kids. We are going to have some patchy, dense fog out there, making it hard to see in some areas out there over the course of this evening. In terms of temperatures, it's going to be quite comfortable out there for us tonight. We'll see temperatures staying in the 50s, drifting down to the lower 40s over the course of this evening. So some scattered sprinkles out there, temperatures in the lower 50s, but dry for the trick-or-treaters this evening. We do have a flood watch in effect over the southern part of the state where some heavier rainfall is going to be likely. We'll talk more about our chances for heavy rainfall tomorrow and for tonight coming up in the Weather Authority forecast.
All right, Chris, thank you. Stay ahead of the weather with the CBS 4 Indy Weather Authority app. It's free on Android and Apple phones, giving you the Weather Authority forecast at your fingertips.
A CBS 4 update now on the bus stop crash that killed 3 young siblings and injured a 4th child in Rochester. Late today, the school district there said it is now moving the bus stop where this crash happened. Investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board investigated the scene today. Their primary focus, fact-finding. We're also awaiting court documents about the woman who's accused of being behind the wheel during that crash. Alyssa Shepard faces 3 counts of reckless homicide. Shepard could spend up to 19 years in prison based on the charges she's facing. Authorities say she was in the pickup truck that hit those children as they crossed the road to board the school bus yesterday morning. Xavier and Mason Engel and their sister Olivia Stahl all died at the scene. Now, as we told you last night, the family of those 3 children say they'd asked the bus stop to be moved several times since the kids were required to cross a busy state road to board the bus. Tippecanoe Valley School Corporation says the bus stop will now be in the mobile home park where the children lived. Meanwhile, another boy, Maverick Lowe, is recovering at a Fort Wayne hospital tonight.
Well, new at 5 o'clock, INDOT officials say work on a Section 5 of I-69 between Martinsville and Bloomington is substantially completed. In the next week, work zone speed limits will be lifted. And as CBS 4's Zach Myers reports now, drivers are ready to get up to speed.
Drivers we talked to today say they will be plenty excited to see 45 turn into 70 mile-an-hour speed limits. But INDOT officials are also cautioning that there will still be some work going on.
After nearly 4 years of stop-and-go, single-lane, slow-moving traffic,
it's been a long time, that's for sure.
Hoosiers are on the verge of driving 70 miles an hour on I-69 between Martinsville and Bloomington.
I've been traveling this section since they started all the way to Evansville, and it's time.
It seems like it's been an ongoing project that's just never gotten done. So it'd be nice to see traffic moving once again.
INDOT spokesperson Scott Manning says work on the 21-mile stretch of interstate is substantially complete.
Now we're looking forward to very soon being able to remove the work zone speed limit restrictions that encompass the entire corridor right now and put the traditional interstate speed limits in place for the corridor.
Not that everyone obeys the work zone speed limit now. As we maintained 45 miles an hour, we were constantly passed or tailgated on our way to Bloomington, something state and local police will be watching for even after the 70-mile-an-hour signs go up. The speed limit will drop to 55 as you drive through Bloomington, and Manning says there will be isolated slowdowns as work crews finish drainage and sign work along the highway.
There may be a lane restriction in place, and there will be a work zone speed restriction in place, and there will be law enforcement watching.
Up next, work will soon begin on Section 6 of I-69 from Martinsville to Indianapolis. INDOT expects to start working on local roads around State Road 37 in the spring, with mainline construction starting in 2020.
Now, INDOT can't say exactly which day the changeover will happen, but they are saying it'll be sometime within the next week that the 70-mile-an-hour speed limits will be in effect. On the road from Bloomington, Zach Myers, CBS 4 News.
All right, Zach, thank you. Happening now, IMPD officers are looking for the man they say is behind a deadly shooting on the Near East Side. A murder warrant has been issued for this man, identified as 43-year-old Parise Fowler. Police say Fowler shot and killed 39-year-old Byron Miller last week near Michigan Road and Rural. Fowler should be considered armed and dangerous. Call police if you see him.
Police are looking for a motive in a deadly stabbing on Indy's South Side. 23-year-old Jacob Burns was stabbed overnight at the Brookwood Apartments and then died at the hospital. Investigators say Burns was there to visit a family at the complex. Something happened and things turned violent. Right now, police are interviewing a suspect in that case. In Grant County, 2 men are stabbed, with one of them dying. 2 men are now in custody tonight. The Grant County Sheriff's Department says 22-year-old Austin Wolf and 17-year-old Ethan Wolf were stabbed last night on South 700 East. Ethan later died at the hospital. 2 suspects have been charged now with murder and robbery. They are 20-year-old Eric Jordan and 18-year-old Matthew Rudisell.
Crews responded to a fire at a vacant church on the northwest side. The fire department believes squatters caused that fire. As the temperatures begin to drop, homeless Hoosiers may turn to vacant buildings for shelter to get warm. And as CBS 4's Brett Cass tells us, that can lead to problems for not only them, but also first responders.
It didn't take long for this early morning fire to spread throughout a vacant former church on the near northwest side. The Indianapolis Fire Department says it was caused by squatters building a fire, a problem that may soon get worse.
With the colder weather coming, it's expected and anticipated that we'll have people who are seeking shelter to try to stay warm.
While a fire can cause problems itself, vacant buildings can be even more dangerous. This former church was stripped bare with holes in the floor, creating hazards for first responders and also those living nearby.
We don't want curious kids walking by one of those structures and kind of, being curious about what's inside, because it would only take a second for somebody to get injured.
Yesterday, Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett celebrated the 200th vacant home redeveloped with the program Renew Indy, but said there's still more to go.
Last year, I announced a plan to rehab, transform, or demolish 2,000 homes in 2 years.
In the meantime, the fire department needs help to keep these types of fires from happening.
We do understand that there are needs for warmth for some of our folks that live in our city, but there are resources available, and there are entities that will help get you to those resources.
On the near northwest side, Brett Cast, CBS 4 News.
Keep in mind, no one was hurt or injured in this morning's fire. IFD asks that if you do live near vacant buildings, keep an eye out and make sure to report any suspicious activity.
Well, campaign 2018 tonight, the U.S. Senate race drawing presidents past and present to Indiana. Today, we learned that former President Barack Obama will hold a campaign rally for Senator Joe Donnelly Sunday in Gary. That rally is free, but tickets are required. Obama's visit comes amid 2 scheduled visits to Indiana by President Trump, one on Friday, the other next Monday. Well, neither Joe Donnelly or his Republican challenger Mike Braun are slowing down after their final Senate debate last night. Both candidates continue to campaign campaign today as polls show them locked in an extremely tight race. This morning in Indianapolis, Braun met with medical professionals at OrthoIndy. The topic there, health care and insurance costs, both big topics for voters from either party. And then this afternoon, Joe Donnelly met with veterans and service members at the Fort Benjamin Harrison Veterans Center. He was joined by former Republican Senator and Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel, who endorsed Donnelly. The topic here, the importance of mental health care for veterans. With the election just 6 days away now, each candidate will need to focus on shoring up undecided voters, but also encouraging voters to make it to the polls.
We're going to finish hard into next Tuesday. I'm out every day meeting and greeting, talking about my ideas.
Just working nonstop to meet with voters, to talk to them, to have a chance to shake their hands and to work hard to earn their vote.
Polls show both Donnelly and Braun still within the margin of error. Libertarian candidate Lucy Brenton also is running for that Senate seat.
Today, Senator Donnelly also answering critics who say he gave a racially insensitive answer during last night's Senate debate. Donnelly was answering a question about diversity on his staff, specifically his commitment to bringing women, African Americans, and other underrepresented groups to his staff. Here's how Donnelly answered.
We want everybody to have a chance in Indiana and in America. And my offices reflect that, both on the campaign side and on the Senate side. Our state director is Indian American, but he does an amazing job. Our director of all constituent services, she's African American, but she does an even more incredible job than you could ever imagine. It isn't their race or their religion. It's the incredible person that they are. But at the same time, they have to have a chance. They have to have an opportunity. And that's my responsibility. And I've done it in every office I've had, and I've done it in every campaign I've had, because my campaigns and our Senate office should reflect the face of Indiana.
In a statement to CBS 4, Donnelly says in part, quote, "I misspoke. I meant to say and instead of but. That would have communicated what I have tried to do my entire life, that I make a habit to seek out and promote people of color for both my campaign and official staff." He also responded at an event with veterans this afternoon.
I misspoke. I meant to say and said but. My diversity of the office has been a complete commitment of mine. It's part of my life's work, and the record speaks for itself. And I'm incredibly blessed to have the people who work for me, and they do an amazing job.
The Indiana State Republican Party wants Donnelly to apologize.
The Indianapolis Zoo responding to a petition to send one of their lions to a sanctuary. The lioness in question killed a lion at the zoo earlier this month. Zuri had been living with the lion Nyack for 8 years, but one day Zuri killed Nyack before the zoo opened. Animal welfare advocates then launched an effort to have Zuri and her cubs moved to a sanctuary. The Indianapolis Zoo sent us a statement today saying, "We appreciate that so many people are thinking about Zuri. We can assure you that she and the 3 other lions are healthy and doing well in their social groups here at the zoo." Well, Election Day is less than a week away now, but some Hoosiers will not be waiting at the polls.
Early voting is becoming the early story of this year's midterm election. From one corner of Indiana to the other, a strong start. The response to keep up with all that demand.
It's a first-of-its-kind study being done on students, athletes with concussions, the next step coming from the NCAA and the Department of Defense.
And just a few scattered showers going on across central Indiana right now, but heavier rain is on its way back into the state later on tonight and for tomorrow. More on the rain and details on a flood watch in the Weather Authority forecast.
CBS 4 is committed to telling the stories of our Hoosier veterans. Starting tomorrow, CBS 4 will honor our Hoosier heroes on air and online. We're asking viewers to submit a photo of the veteran or active military member in their life on our CBS 4 Indy Facebook page. New at 5 tonight, the Ohio Supreme Court has ruled the widow of a former Notre Dame football player can sue the school and the NCAA. She claims concussions while playing football there left her husband disabled. Steve Schmitz played football at Notre Dame during the 1970s. He and his wife filed the lawsuit in 2014, claiming the school and the NCAA failed to protect players from concussions. Schmitz died in 2015 after being diagnosed with a brain disease related to concussions. The biggest study of concussions in college athletes is now expanding. The NCAA and the Department of Defense announced $22 million in new funding today.
Yeah, and that study also looks at the impact of concussions among those in the armed forces as well. A study called the CARE Consortium has collected data on more than 39,000 student athletes and cadets. More than 3,300 of them experienced concussions. This is the largest sample ever collected. Now, the study is being partially led by the Indiana University School of Medicine.
So the concern has been that how worried should we be? We have lots of youth who are engaged in sports activities, contact sports that are associated with high rates of concussion. How worried do we need to be that they're going to have long-term effects of these injuries? And so there's a lot of data that we need to generate to ascertain how big a public health problem we have with concussion.
The new funding will go towards testing student athletes when they leave college or up to 4 years after college sports or military careers have ended.
We will be able to say at the end of this next phase, how worried should we be about this question of more than one concussion and repetitive head impacts. So we think that's going to be really exciting and sort of provide some useful information to inform the public health concerns.
Study has already collected key information on concussion, such as the impact of removing student athletes from play after suffering a concussion, the role that age plays at the time of the first concussion, and testing and recovery efforts. To read the findings from the first phase of this study and for more information on the next phase, just look for our link on the website cbs4indy.com/links.
Okay, Halloween night is here. A lot of parents getting their kids ready to head out. And it isn't even so much the rain that worries me. It's the fog that's going to be out there tonight.
It is kind of messy out there. Chris is out at the governor's residence to kind of fill us in. Hey, Chris.
Yeah, Bob and Debbie, we're going to have a couple of issues out there with that rain and fog across the area tonight. The good news is that the heaviest rainfall has moved on south of us, and I think we're going to avoid heavy rainfall until after 9 o'clock, especially after midnight. We'll see heavier rainfall filling in. Right now, just a couple of scattered sprinkles. The theme is basketball here at the governor's mansion. I've seen a couple of the staffers wearing basketball uniforms. They're putting up all the decorations, so it's going to be a festive night for the kids to come on over to the mansion in their costumes and collect their candy this evening. We'll be talking more about that throughout the evening. Take a look at live Guardian radar right now. We've got clouds across Indiana. Scattered showers are going on down to our south. The heaviest rainfall farther south down along the Ohio River between Louisville and Cincinnati. That's where the heaviest rain is going to be for the next couple of hours, so we're going to avoid the big deluge of rainfall across the area. Kind of looks gloomy downtown. We've got some clouds and fog across the area. Some light rain is coming down, just a little fine mist across the area, and temperatures are quite mild across the area. We warm things up into the upper 60s today, but that was early this morning. We saw that high at 67. Right now, with a north wind 8 miles per hour, we're at 53 degrees, so temperatures have fallen a bit throughout the day across the area. We got some visibility issues out there. We are going to see some patchy, dense fog this evening. A lot of areas going to see visibility right around 2 miles over the next couple of hours, so it's going to be pretty tough to see out there with the kids running around in those costumes, so be sure and slow down and give them a little bit of extra room. Right now, visibility is 2 miles here in the city, 2 miles in Bloomington, and about 2.5 miles in Columbus. Visibility a lot better in Lafayette right now, where it's about 10 miles. We're going to stay with the clouds and stay with the fog and keep the temperature right around 50 over the next couple of hours. So we're going to cool things down just a little bit, but it can be a whole lot worse for us this time of year. In Halloween, there have been some times out there we've had to have the winter coats out there. So hopefully this evening, just jackets and sweatshirts along with the costumes, and most of the kids, they're going to be fine this evening. We do have a flood watch in effect over a large portion of the state, mainly south of Interstate 70. Here in the city, I think we'll see a couple of inches of rain over the next 24 hours, but farther down to our south, we'll see as much as 4 inches of rain in a couple of isolated spots, and that's going to lead to some flooding that's going to last right on through the weekend, so that's something we'll be watching very carefully over the next couple of days. At the bus stop tomorrow morning, it's going to be a much cooler day than it was today. We're going to start and end the day with temperatures in the 40s. Really not a whole lot of range on temperature. We should top out in the upper 40s by lunchtime and stay there right on through the afternoon hours with the clouds and rain. And the winds are also going to pick up tomorrow afternoon. They'll be quite gusty out of the northeast at 20 to 25 miles per hour. In terms of rainfall we're expecting over the next 24 hours, we're going to get another pretty good soaking between now and about Friday morning, and that is why that flood watch is in effect across central Indiana for the heavy rainfall that we're expecting to move on through. Take a look at CBS 4 Future View. Heavy rainfall will develop overnight and be here for you for the morning rush hour. Heavy rain is likely throughout the day tomorrow, along with gusty winds across the area. So a number of challenges out there on the roadways tomorrow. You may want to clear the leaves away from drainage areas around your house to avoid some of the flooding issues, as the rain is really going to be piling up over the next couple of days. We'll see the rainfall continuing tomorrow night right on through the early part of Friday. Don't bet on a whole lot of sunshine on Friday. We're going to stay cool both tomorrow and Friday. We'll keep those temperatures in the 40s across the area, so nice and chilly for us. In the forecast overnight, we'll find it cooling down across the area. The winds from the northeast 10 to 15 miles per hour. It is going to be a cooler night of weather with low temperature down around 44. Then for tomorrow, we'll have clouds and gusty winds, a high temperature at 49 degrees. We'll stay chilly during the day tomorrow across central Indiana with those winds picking up. In the 7-day forecast, we've got rain in the forecast coming up tomorrow, the high 49, rain on Friday, the high at 44. Then we'll get back to sunny skies and temperatures in the 50s over the weekend, dry on Saturday and Sunday with the next chance of rain coming up on Sunday night. Live from the Governor's Mansion, we'll be here talking about the weather throughout the evening. For now, back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. We'll get more honors for Adam Vinatieri tonight.
All well-deserved. The ways the NFL and Lucas Oil Stadium are honoring the NFL's all-time leading scorer, and the Colts boasting a great rushing attack this year thanks to new coach Tom Rathman. The push to get the former 49er to stick around in the Circle City for the long run.
Shifting gears, the offer being made to General Motors employees, including some here in Indiana, as the company looks to tighten its belt. Well, new at 5 o'clock, General Motors is offering buyouts to more than 18,000 of its salaried employees in the U.S. Employees with 12 or more years will be given the offer, or about 1/3 of its staff. According to GM's website, more than 7,000 Hoosier workers in 4 GM facilities overall could be affected. That includes 212 salaried workers in Kokomo and 148 salaried employees in Bedford. The company says it's part of a cost-cutting plan after spending on self-driving vehicles and other technology has grown to over $1 billion now. Higher tariffs on steel and aluminum are also raising costs.
Students at IPS School 96 combined Halloween with racing today, thanks to a special appearance by an IndyCar rookie. Harding Steinbrenner Racing, Patrick O'Ward dressed the part, talking all things NASCAR. Last year's Indy Lights champion helped answer questions from students and talk about his background. The 19-year-old finished 9th in his IndyCar debut at the season finale in September in Sonoma. Blues, booze, bullet holes, the haunted history of Indy's oldest bar.
Officials here in Johnson County taken by surprise by just how many people are coming out to vote early. I'm Gabby Gonzalez, coming up a look at the steps they've taken to make sure everyone can easily cast their ballot.
And just a few scattered sprinkles across central Indiana right now, but heavy rainfall is likely later on tonight. More on that coming up in the Weather Authority forecast.
You're watching CBS 4 News. You're watching CBS 4 News.
Okay, rainy end to the month of October all across central Indiana. Look at downtown there. Everybody kind of covering up. The focus turns to the shower chances tonight and the safety of kids who are heading out trick-or-treating.
CBS 4's chief meteorologist Chris Wright is at the Indiana governor's residence tonight. And Chris, big crowds expected there?
We are expecting big crowds here tonight. The theme is basketball. We'll be talking about that over the course of the next hour or so. They got lots of surprises for the kids out here tonight. They've already got the decorations set up, and we want the heavy rainfall to stay away. And it looks like that is going to happen for us. We've got cloudy skies right now, and on Live Guardian radar, some scattered showers going on down to our south between Evansville and Cincinnati, but the heaviest rainfall is going to stay south of us. We picked up a 1/4 inch of rainfall here in the city today, but Bloomington had over an inch of rain, so some folks down to our south got a really good soaking, and that's why the flood watch is in effect over the southern part of the state, as that's where we're expecting the heaviest rain to fall. We made it up to a high at 67 this afternoon here in the state capitol, but that was earlier in the day. I should say that high this morning. Over the course of this afternoon, temperatures have been cooling down, and right now we're in the lower 50s across the area, and we're going to stay with the temperature right around 50 for the next couple of hours. Coming up in the Weather Authority forecast, I'll be talking more about the flood watch, and I'll show you where the heaviest rain is going to fall over the next 24 hours. But for now, back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. Well, in your fast forward tonight, NTSB investigators are in northern Indiana now looking for answers into the crash that killed 3 young siblings and injured a 4th child. Alyssa Shepard, the woman police say was behind the wheel, faces 3 counts of reckless homicide.
Indianapolis police are looking for this man tonight. Officers issued a murder warrant for Parise Fowler after Byron Miller was found dead on Rural Street last night. Officers say Fowler should be considered armed and dangerous. If you know where he is, please call police.
INDOT officials say construction and paving work on the new I-69 between Martinsville and Bloomington is substantially complete. Sometime in the next week or so, they expect to lift the 45-mile-an-hour work zone speed limit and replace it with 70-mile-an-hour signs.
And former President Barack Obama will head to the Hoosier State this weekend to hold a rally for Senator Joe Donnelly. It's happening on Sunday in Gary. The rally is free, but tickets are required.
Well, campaign 2018 now in Johnson County. Early voting numbers are already more than double what they were in the 2014 midterm elections. Election officials say this turnout has taken them by surprise, and they had to tweak their plans. CBS 4's Gabby Gonzalez takes us now to one of those early voting locations where people are even waiting in line.
Well, nearly 10,000 people have already voted early here in Johnson County, and crowds have been quickly filing through here in the basement of the courthouse as these volunteers remain very busy.
At lunchtime, the line to vote at the Johnson County Courthouse stretched down a hallway just steps from the door.
It's been overwhelming. It's been overwhelming.
Susie Mesnick has served as county clerk for 8 years and says this is the most people she's seen voting early, a process that started back on October 10th.
We've had a crowd since then. It's been every day.
We talked to one voter who said this was his second attempt at voting early because there was a 2-hour wait in Greenwood on Saturday.
I wasn't going to wait for 2 hours on a Saturday. Just beat the lines and be proactive about it. It's my first time voting, just wanted to do it first.
A lot more people than I thought, to be honest. A lot more people have been early voting. A lot more people voting in general.
The numbers are in line with their experiences. In the 2014 midterms, a total of 3,870 people voted early in person. So far in 2018, they've had 9,905 early voters.
We have put additional voting machines in numerous locations. We've added people to work in those locations. We're happy that people have decided finally to get out and have a voice in our process.
And while many encountered a larger crowd than they anticipated, they tell us they're glad they can cast their ballot ahead of Election Day.
I think it's great that early voting is an option. I think it's purely a matter of convenience.
And there are 5 locations where you can vote early in the upcoming days. We've got a full list on our website. Reporting in Johnson County, I'm Gabby Gonzalez. Back to you.
Gabby, thank you. And this isn't isolated to just Johnson County. In Hancock County, more than 9,500 Hoosiers have already cast their votes early, exceeding the totals from the last midterm election. In Hendricks County, early and mail-in voters have topped 2014's total by nearly 10,000. And in Marion County, 32,000 people have voted early, which exceeds the number seen during the 2016 presidential election, this close to Election Day. And when it comes to Election Day, the U.S. Attorney Josh Minkler is taking extra precautions now to make sure that voting is safe and accurate here in the state. That's why one of his assistant state's attorneys will serve as a district election officer. This person will primarily oversee the handling of any complaints about election fraud and voting rights abuse. U.S. Attorney Josh Minkler said in a statement, quote, "Every citizen must be able to vote without without interference or discrimination, and to have that vote counted without it being stolen because of fraud. To report any election problems with fraud or voting rights abuses on Election Day, you can call 226-6333. If you miss that number, you can look for it later on CBS4Indy.com.
An update now on the use of that Pharrell Williams song at a Donald Trump appearance. Pharrell Williams threatened to sue the president over the use of the song Happy over the weekend following the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting. According to our news gathering partners at the Indianapolis Star, President Trump did not pick that song. The FFA did. The FFA band performed a number of songs at Bankers Life Fieldhouse on Saturday when the president spoke. The band had previously performed Williams' song Happy 6 times during the course of the convention. According to the FFA spokesperson, the only song that the president requested on Saturday was God Bless the USA by Lee Greenwood. That song was played over the public address system, not by the FFA band.
Well, working to make Indy's neighborhoods safer is now a national goal. The U.S. Department of Justice awarded the Commuted-Based Crime Reduction Grant to an East Side neighborhood. Now, the 3-year, nearly $1 million grant will be used to target crime in the Indy East Promise Zone, which includes Sherman Park and Englewood. The IMPD says this area has a consistently high level of crime.
And really, it helps us to accelerate plans around public safety within our community. There's been a lot of work done by neighborhood residents for decades.
Grant-funded work begins this month and will stretch into 2021. The goal is to create a community-oriented program that will revitalize the neighborhoods and reduce crime overall.
CBS 4 is your exclusive partner of the Indianapolis Colts in the Blue Zone tonight. Adam Vinatieri can just soak up all the praise this bye week. He's been named the AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. As you know, on Sunday, Vinatieri became the NFL's all-time leading scorer in that win over the Raiders. It's the 18th time Vinatieri has won the AFC's weekly Special Teams Award. Lucas Oil Stadium honoring Vinatieri in their own way with a brand new poster of him outside of the stadium. Adam Vinatieri was wrapping up his college career at South Dakota State. The same year, fullback Tom Rathman was wrapping up his NFL career. Rathman went into coaching after retirement, spending 20 years on the sidelines before stepping away from the game last season. CBS 4's Lara Overton explains what lured Rathman here to Indianapolis, hopefully for the long run.
Hey, you gotta stay down low!
This time last year, Tom Rathman was enjoying his first season away from football after more than 3 decades in the NFL.
I was able to spend a lot of time with my wife and my kids. To be able to go into the city and learn about San Francisco. I'd been out there 30 years and really never got the opportunity to learn about the city.
Rathman spent decades within the 49ers organization, first as a player, then on 2 different coaching stints. And it was another fellow former Niner who was influential in bringing him to Indy.
At the time, Frank Gore was still here. I'd been talking to him the last couple of years, staying in touch with him, so he was telling me everything about Indianapolis.
This opportunity also allowed the longtime West Coaster to reunite with family.
My wife was born in Hartford City, which is just outside of Muncie, so she still has relatives here, so that is a good deal for us.
Leading up to the bye, the Colts racked up 200 rushing yards in back-to-back games for the first time since 1985. And the opportunity to develop this young contingent of backs was an exciting challenge for the veteran coach.
I still have a great passion for the game. Love to coach it, love to teach guys, develop them, and I got a great group right now.
That young group of backs with an average age under 24 brings great potential. And for the seasoned Rathman, the franchise's past is indicative of its future.
Look at the history of the organization. They've had success. They've won Super Bowls. They give you everything that you're looking for as far as, what you need to be successful.
From the Colts complex, Lara Overton, CBS 4 News.
Laura, thank you. We are learning what led quarterback Andrew Luck to shave off his beard. Turns out it wasn't his girlfriend or his teammates. Hear what he had to say during an interview on the Reitz Stuff with Joe Reitz.
I feel like I'm still a kid some way, so I was pretty proud this year. I was Wolverine, and
love that.
Shaving the whole thing and spiked the hair.
I love it.
And, I was stoked.
Well, now we don't have a picture of the costume just yet, but we will show you as soon as we get one. Well, one bar in downtown Indianapolis has been open now for 150 years in the same spot.
We've all heard of it. This business has a lot of history behind it. Some of it could be considered haunted. Yep, the story of the Slippery Noodle.
For your health tonight, brand new technology in Indiana helping Hoosiers grow bone. A small device having a big impact on people's lives.
And we had some light rainfall here at the governor's mansion a little while ago. That is now dissipated. The decorations are up and we are ready for Halloween fun. The forecast is coming up.
Senate candidates are highlighting big issues in the lead up to Election Day. How health care could make or break success for Mike Braun and Joe Donnelly.
Well, new at 5 tonight, a second study this month confirming what a lot of parents already know, that child care is hard to come by in the state of Indiana. This time coming from the Progressive Public Policy Research Organization, the Center for American Progress. Their analysis found that in Adams County, there are just 18 spots for infant or toddler care and more than 2,000 infants and toddlers. Indiana leads the states in the study with more than 8% of infants and toddlers per slot. The findings from the study saying options are sparse for people living in rural areas. Now, earlier this month, the IU Public Policy Institute released a study detailing how much the child care desert actually costs every year. Hoosier businesses spend about $1.8 billion a year paying wages for absent employees and lost productivity coming from a lack of child care. Well, blues, booze, bullet holes, and human remains. One of Indiana's oldest bars has quite the history.
Established in 1850, the Slippery Noodle is in Indiana's oldest continually operating bar in its original building, located just one block, as you know, from Lucas Oil Stadium. The Slippery Noodle has been a hot spot for more than just blues music. How about mobsters, a watering hole during the Prohibition and a haven for runaway slaves? The most interesting patrons no longer with us.
One of the keg delivery guys came in and was going into the basement, flipped on the lights, and he described George, he said George was right in his face, and he left the building and said he would never deliver here again. They used to make whiskey down there. I know they've found like human bones down there. there's definitely something that's buried down there. There's some people that come here specifically because they want to see if they can feel a presence or see something with their own eyes.
The Slippery Noodle is happy to give tours. Call ahead. The place is busy. For more information, check out this story at CBS4Indy.com under Hotspots. Been a long time since I've been to the Slippery Noodle.
Yeah, I'd like to go now.
Gotta
It's
head
been
back.
a long time for me
Great
as well.
place to go after a football game.
You bet.
All right, someone is celebrating a big birthday today.
Yeah, that would be Indiana's very own Sammy Terry. You know he's throwing a party, and you are invited.
Light casts an unearthly glow. Arise, my love, with tales of woe.
Sammy Terry's 56 Halloween movie special airs live tonight on Facebook and on YouTube. Tonight's feature, the classic Universal Pictures movie Frankenstein, starring none other than Boris Karloff as Frankenstein's monster.
Special runs from 8 to 10 tonight on the Sammy Terry Facebook fan page and on Sammy's YouTube channel. Don't forget, you can watch Sammy Terry's Nightmare Theater movies the first Friday of every month.
Boy, it was such a tradition here on Channel 4 with Sammy Terry,
Yes,
wasn't it?
oh
Way
my
back
God.
in the day.
Iconic, absolutely
Such memories
iconic.
for so many people down there.
You bet.
All right, let's go ahead and check back in, get this Halloween forecast from Chris. Chris, looks like some people are starting to show up there behind you at the governor's mansion.
Yeah, the staff is dressed in uniform. The theme is basketball. They're going to be handing out these Indiana Governor's Court basketballs established in 2018. They'll be giving those out along with candy to the kids tonight. And the staffers are in a great mood. This is going to be a fantastic night for us, for some fun and for some trick-or-treating. That cat really is freaking me out, man. We've got some clouds out here on Live Garden radar right now. Just a couple of scattered showers going on. They've got this cat out here that's going to really get the kids' attention as they are walking the path up to the governor's mansion this evening. Right now, we've got some clouds and fog here in the city, so visibility is limited. We did have a nice mild morning. We started the day with temperatures in the 60s, topping out with a high at 67 earlier today, but temperatures have been cooling down over the past couple of hours, and right now we're in the 50s across the area and going to keep the temperature in the lower 50s on through the evening for the kids out trick-or-treating. You are going to have to be careful out there tonight. We're going to have some light rain out there, so the roadways are going to be wet. We also have some visibility issues. Visibility is down to about 2 miles right now with that temperature at 53 degrees. So not too bad on the temperature, but watch out for the kids. It's going to be kind of difficult to see them. We do have a flood watch in effect over the southern part of the state from 8 o'clock this evening on through 7 o'clock Friday morning. South of Interstate 70 is we're expecting the heaviest rain to fall. Some spots down to the south might get as much as 4 inches of rain. CBS 4 Future View will show the heavy rainfall that we're going to be dealing with early tomorrow morning, just in time for the morning rush hour. Pretty good soaking for us, and it's really going to last throughout the day. Heavy rainfall is going to be likely throughout your Thursday here across central Indiana. Heavy rainfall will also continue tomorrow night. It will start to taper off on Friday, but don't expect a whole lot of sunshine coming up on Friday. Both tomorrow and Friday we'll see high temperatures in the upper 40s to near 50, so a little bit cooler than the average high, which is now right around 60. In the forecast overnight, we'll stay with some scattered showers across the area. Then heavier rain is going to move in after midnight. We'll cool down to a low temperature in the 40s. Heavy rainfall is likely throughout the day tomorrow, along with gusty northeast winds. We'll see the high temperature near 50 tomorrow afternoon. In the 7-day forecast, we'll have 2 days with high temperatures near 50, both tomorrow and Friday, with clouds and rain, and finally we'll get back to some welcome sunshine, but that won't roll around to the weekend. We'll have sunny skies on both Saturday and Sunday, dry weather on Saturday, and a chance of rain coming up Sunday night through Monday. We're also going to see a warm-up this weekend. By Sunday afternoon, we'll see the high temperature at 61. Everyone here at the Governor's Mansion is in good spirits, looking forward to a great turnout tonight for the trick-or-treaters, so dress the kids up, slap a sweatshirt on them, put them in their costume, and get them out here, and make sure you watch out for them because they'll be very excited out there tonight, so they won't be watching out from you. Live from the Governor's Mansion, guys, we'll go back to you guys in the studio.
All right, great advice. Thank you, Chris. Well, for your health tonight, doctors at OrthoIndy are excited about new advances in the ability to grow bone. The old way was a heavy contraption anchored on the outside of a patient's limb. Well, now they've got it down to a sleek, long nail with a very special ability. It's tonight's For Your Health.
It's still a surgery.
Dr. Stephen Greenfield takes care of patients with very specific problems. They have an injury or are born with a bone deformity, and that deformity needs to be lengthened and changed. He does it with a nail.
Where we would actually insert this nail down the length of the bone, so into the medullary canal or the marrow space, and use a magnet every day to slowly pull the bone ends apart until we've reached whatever correction we're trying to achieve.
And the nails are equipped with a very important component.
There's a very small but powerful magnet right about here that communicates with a device that the patient holds. And the patient actually grows their own bone 3 times a day.
Patients are on a diet rich in calcium and vitamin D. The process is slow. It takes weeks and months to grow bone. But many patients are mobile to a degree and work on range of motion while their bone fills in. As for pain, well, it's something most of us know.
You've heard of growing pains in a kid. It's the same idea except on a much larger scale because you're growing the bone a millimeter a day.
Well, Dr. Greenfield has done about 40 to 50 procedures using these precise nails. He treats pain with a combination of anti-inflammatories and some narcotics. But because it's really not a horrible pain, most of that can be controlled without the heavy drugs. It does take several months, as we mentioned, in most cases, to grow bone.
Horrible pain, I guess, if it's not your own pain, though, right?
That's true, but it just kind of is an achy feeling, he was saying, kind of like your, growing pains.
Fascinating stuff.
It is. Country music fans have a big show to look forward to next year.
The Friends will be coming with Blake Shelton this February, and a new look for an old neighborhood in Indianapolis, the data-driven approach to bring in some new neighbors.
Tragedy in Rochester at a school bus stop sparking calls for change. I'm Kelly Rinke here what state lawmakers and parents want to see done to keep kids safe.
Well, Indy's Old Southside neighborhood will now get a major boost after being named as the second Lift Indy investment recipient. Started last year, the community development program chooses one neighborhood a year through a data-driven process. Old Southside will receive $4 million from 2 federal grants over the next 3 years, funding aimed at revitalization efforts through community-driven projects.
Economic development, social service availability, infrastructure improvement, placemaking. So in many ways, we're about to embark on a brand new neighborhood here on the Old South Side.
Lift Indy also provides affordable home ownership opportunities through its development initiative. Last year, Monon 16 was named the first Lift Indy recipient.
Here's what we're working on tonight at 6. There's several big topics for next week's election,
including health care. Senate candidates Donnelly and Braun talk to us about their plans for health care if elected.
If you're an IPL customer, get ready for a rate increase, the reason for that price hike.
And Halloween has gone to the dogs, how you can crown the top dog of this group.
And we've got several chances for rain here coming up over the next several days across central Indiana. Coming up into Indiana's very own CBS 4 News at 6, I've got new information on the flood watch.